Another big thing I learned is not using my wrist to tattoo. I use my shoulder. If you want to do circles, the range of motion is perfect with your shoulder. You can go back, you can pull down this way, go on there, but once you start doing your wrists, you're doing a semi-motherfucking circle.
You should do a clip where we're all like this.
We're all like this. Hey.
You know, fucking Jordi's putting on a seminar. I mean, no, it makes sense. I feel like with the shoulder, you have more control.
Yeah,
and
more
it's
control,
fluid.
and you can kind of bring down. And then when I do lines, I bring them down this way, and I just keep my arm straight. And I usually do is a lot of people don't really do it. I take Sensei wrap and I wrap my wrist,
Just to make it more stiffer.
Yeah, because I want my wrist to not be moving. I want that shit tight, and I want my shoulder to where I'm gonna do all the action.
Wow,
Down there, and that's like
that's a clip right there.
That.
Not gonna lie, bro. I was kind of intimidated when Daryl was like, "We're having Jordi on the episode." I was like, "Damn!" I was looking through the work again, and I was like, "Man,
Hey, you're a beast, bro.
Oh man, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now you guys are beasts out here too, man.
Thank you,
I love
bro.
y'all work.
appreciate
Thank
that,
you, man.
bro.
Thank you. No, I was like when he showed me who Damascus Tattoo was, I was like, wow, they have some really good artists. And then when I heard that you guys branched out, I was like, fuck, I hope they stay in the area because I want to meet these guys.
Yeah.
And then we met Nina, we met Meds, and now we're meeting you for the first time, bro. So thank you for coming out, man.
Yeah, bro.
Likewise, thank you, man.
Right. Let's jump into questions, man. So let's
do
get to
it.
know Jordi because for us, this is the first time we get to meet you, bro, and we have a lot of questions to ask.
Fuck yeah.
Let's start with Jordi. Is that your name, or do you have like a?
Is that it? Actually, is my name.
Okay.
It's in Catalan for George.
Oh,
Because
okay.
my grandparents are from Catalonia, from Barcelona, and my first and last name's in Catalan. Like my full name is Jordi Alejandro Plaza. And my
Damn.
mom's last name is she's Chilean, so her last name is Baeza.
You got a little bit
Wow.
of everything, bro.
I mixed all over.
Venezuela.
But you said you were brought here when you were very young, right?
Yeah, I was born in Venezuela, and I came to the United States when I was around 4 months old. And I moved to Miami at first, and then I lived in Orlando for a while. But I grew up my whole life in South Florida.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Nice.
Orlando. I would love to grow in Orlando just because of the parks.
No, it's nice to be out there, but I enjoyed Miami more than Orlando.
Well, yeah, it's like more of an adult playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
If you know what I'm
Adult
talking
theme
about.
parks,
Yeah.
aka strip clubs.
That's what's up, man. So from Florida, you came all the way to here, man. Tell us about that, bro. Like how'd you end up in the DMV out of everywhere you could have gone?
Man, so when I was in Miami, I was working at Chico's Mark for Life. And from the beginning, from maybe 2 months in tattooing professionally, he would take us on the road and do conventions. And I did a lot of shows in Virginia, DC, and Baltimore. And I did those shows constantly every year. And I just realized how much clients were more appreciative. They're willing to pay more money. And they kind of left me more freedom to do what I kind of wanted. So I was always wanted to come out to the DMV and move out here since then. But it essentially happened right after I got off Inkmaster. I was supposed to do 50 shows in a row. And I essentially moved out my apartment, put everything in a storage unit, and I started doing conventions. In the middle of that shit, COVID happened. Damn. So I ended up having to go move back to South Florida with my brother. And so that's when Meds moved up to Maryland to work at Damascus. And I was telling him I wanted to move out there. So he's like, Robbie and all them from Damascus asked me if I wanted to come out. And I said, fuck yeah. And I just made that move right away.
Damn.
Man.
So, because I do follow you when you were at the Chico's Mark for Life. Did you do an apprenticeship there? Was that your first spot or?
Well, really, how I learned how to tattoo was I had a cousin that lived in Orlando when I was going to UCF, and she was dating a tattoo artist, Fercho, Colombian. He's the one that got me into tattooing.
Okay.
Because before that, I used to graph and do graffiti and shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I got arrested when I was in high school for graphing on some trains.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's before I got my residency. So I essentially thought I was going to get deported, even though I lived my whole life in Florida. And I decided, I'm going to stop drawing, so I'm going to go to school for engineering. Damn. So I got accepted to UCF after I got my associate's aerospace engineering in Broward Community College. And I was living with my cousins, and I had my black books, all my drawings and shit. And then I met Fercho, and he's like, yo, you want to kind of learn how to tattoo? He didn't really teach me anything. He kind of sold me my first machine, so I tattooed myself. I was essentially scratching at my house for about maybe a year or two. Just here and there, when I was going to college and shit. And that's when I said I really love doing this shit. So I moved back to Miami, and I switched my major from engineering to art. And that's when Chico actually hit me up about doing an apprenticeship. depression wasn't even that long. It was like probably maybe a month and a half.
Whoa.
Month and a half. Essentially, I kind of had the idea because I used to draw a lot, so like the tattooing wasn't too hard for me. It was more so kind of learning about being clean, cross contamination, like how to work in an actual shop because I've never had no experience like that. And I've been working with Chico's for about like 7 years before I moved up here.
Wow.
That's hard.
That's crazy, man.
License?
One-
like what
one
you said, a
month?
Yeah, I mean in Florida it's
Yeah.
like
Hey, that's
it's pretty easy to get licensed. Like it's not really. They just want your money. They don't really give a
Okay,
fuck about
right.
like how if you know how to tattoo. As long as you
Yeah.
understand you have your BPP, you pay the monthly thing, and then you work in the shop. So essentially, I'm kind of glad Chico did that because he put me in the fire and like made me start tattooing. He took me to my first convention 3 months into tattooing professionally.
Wow.
And it's crazy because he got me my first appointment on there. It was like a day and a half. I did a day of the mother, and I had like a little baby skull. And on my first tattoo at a convention, I got a second place for best skull.
No
tattoo.
way. Wow,
that's
First
crazy.
one,
First
and then
convention.
after that shit got me hooked.
Yeah.
And I was like, he took me. I started doing maybe the first year I did like 10 to 15 shows with him. The next year like 25 to 30, and then it kept on going higher and higher. And I've done so many shows, like probably over 200 shows the last 8-9 years.
So do you think the tattoo shows is what hooked you on to just full send on the tattoo world?
I mean, 100%, because if I felt like if I just worked in the shop and didn't get to travel and see all these great artists, and I probably would never be where I'm at. Cause
Makes sense.
It was being in the situation where I was looking at these artists, I was looking at magazines. Actually, getting to see them in person is like, all right, I can do that because they're human.
Yeah.
It's one thing seeing in the magazines like, damn, that's just so incredible, and he's like, how the fuck did they do that shit? But when you get to see them do it in person, it kind of like inspires you to like, all right, I need to get better. I need to do this better, do that better. And I kind of like, I pretty much almost like self-taught myself. So anytime I went to a convention, I really had questions I was asking myself, and I would just like watch them tattoo, and I would figure that shit out. And every time I went, it got me inspired, and I would work hard. And like at that time, I was working like 7 days a week
Yeah.
at the shop, and then I was also taking my bachelor's in art. So I was actually going to art classes and shit too. So it was like for a
Grinding.
good like year or two, I was driving from Broward County like an hour and a half to Miami.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, just to like to work, go to school, and not make no money, just get
But
better
you were
at it.
committed to it.
Oh no, it was like one of those like if I'm gonna leave engineering, I can't half-ass this shit.
No,
I have
of course,
I have to
yeah.
go ham because, to be honest, I never expect to be where I'm at right now with tattooing. I just thought for something like I was gonna do tattooing was gonna be something I love to do. It doesn't feel like work. I wake up every day. It's like I can grind, work 7 hours, and not feel like it's like putting a drain on my body.
Well, yeah, I feel like you're doing what you love,
Yeah.
which is a dream for everyone, especially if you have that path of I want to go corporate. But then when you have a dream and you actually make money of it, like for you, bro, like for example,
Yeah.
P-Look right here, he also did the whole school thing, and now he's doing what he likes, bro.
And I feel like once you commit the way that Jordi did, I feel like there's no plan B.
No.
Yeah.
Like
No.
you just have to go full send, because
That
if
was it.
not, it's you fail, and then where you at, homeless or whatever the case.
It's plan
may be.
A or plan A.
That's it. I tattooed my face, my head, like real quick. I was like, nah, make sure I gotta recognize that.
Get the job
I can't
stoppers.
half-ass this shit. I'm not gonna do anything else. If not, I'm gonna die not tattooing then.
Wow. So you have your head tattooed and everything?
I have like 3/4 of my head, which I actually have to get my the top and this back.
Yeah.
And I want to get Josh Payne to do it, but I've been kind of waiting. That shit fucking hurts.
Oh man, I can imagine, man. Oof.
Yeah, bro, the head.
Oh,
That's rough.
it's excruciating. There's like definitely. I'm pretty good at seeing. I have like tattoos all over my body.
Yeah.
Like never had an issue, but my head has always been a fucking problem.
Well, what kind of pain is it?
And man, it's multiple pains because like first of all, it's like very thin skin, so you feel like the whole vibration on your head. And then usually when you get tattooed in other spots, you can kind of deal with the pain because you can kind of look away, look at like TV or
Yeah,
like your
distract
phone and shit.
yourself.
When you get your head tattooed, you're like laying down looking at the fucking side of the bed and you can't move it nowhere.
Just
you can't
vibrating.
stretch. And it's crazy because it's like not everything hurts on it. It's more so the sides and the top. When I got my face done by Angel Rose at Philly, I didn't even feel the tattoo. But like good half inch next to it behind my ear, the side, yo, I wanted to fucking die. Like I was crying. Like that's how bad that shit was. And I sit pretty good for anything else.
Yeah. Oh man, real quick, man. Speaking about pain, there's a lot of trends coming out now. How do you feel about numbing cream?
Oh, I mean, I don't mind like maybe like Bactine or like holy water towards the end, but I will never put any like that pre-made stuff beforehand because it almost seems like it changes how the texture of the skin looks. Doesn't allow the ink to properly like kind of go into the skin, and always and it makes kind of the skin like kind of be brittle, so it tends to have more damage, more trauma to it. And I have not had one person who's put like pre-numbing stuff sit through the whole tattoo.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because usually they're good up to where that shit drops off, and then it's just excruciating.
Yeah, then
we've seen that. Yeah, we've seen that with people that come in and they ask for it, and then we apply it, and next thing you notice 3-4 hours.
I've actually been trying to stay away from it for that reason, because I do notice that as soon as it does fade away, it's almost like excruciating to where they can't sit anymore. Even Bactine just doesn't work after that point.
Yeah, and to me, it's like if you start off when you get a little bit of pain, it usually gets progressively worse as tattoo longer on there. So you should like save that towards the end, like the last like minute, like the whites. That's about it. Anything else before that, it's like you're not gonna go through the whole tattoo.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I feel
What
like
if somebody like goes to you with numbing cream already? Would you just send them home?
I actually have it on my email that goes out.
Really?
That if you come to the appointment with like pre-numbing stuff, you're gonna get rescheduled, and that's it.
Interesting. So you didn't even want to touch it.
No.
Yeah, because it does mess it up, bro. It just makes it harder for you, I feel.
I mean, it's also like a vasodilator, so it kind of like that's why the skin always looks red, because it kind of rushes the blood and everything to it. It kind of closes up the pores. You're not gonna really, because the thing is how tattoos work. It's you put a hole in the skin, and once the needle comes out, the vacuum pulls the ink into the skin.
Yeah.
But once it's like kind of like in there, it's not having that flexibility. It's not really giving enough room to let the ink go into the skin. So it's like, I don't know. I never have a good time like tattooing anything like that. It always looks like swollen, red, and it's just a pain in the ass.
No, that makes sense. I haven't tried it out at all yet. So I guess I'm just gonna stay away from it.
They'll be better for like smaller tattoos though, bro.
Yeah.
So, like Shorty's getting like some on her rib, or it's like a foot. You know,
like if it's I might even think about doing it on the top of my head if I have to, but I don't know. Like if it's something small, you don't have to worry. But even then, if it's small, you don't really need numbing cream for something like that.
Yeah.
Anything under an hour, you'll be fine. You know, you'll feel it, but it's not gonna be something that you'll be like in pain and you're dying for it.
Yeah,
but,
it'll be more of a mental thing at that point for like,
of course it's a mental thing. I feel like tattooing is. I mean, you know you're coming in for pain, so if you're not up for that, then hey.
Yeah, you gotta earn that shit.
Yeah,
ain't that way. Not everybody gets tattooed.
That's right. I was gonna ask you another thing. Is have you noticed a lot of people have offering anesthesia, like a full knockout?
Yeah, I've seen that.
What's up with that? What do you think about that, man?
I mean, I think that's cool if you have the money for that shit, because it's like it doesn't really affect like the texture of the skin, but there's also like precautions and things that can happen with having anesthesia and like going for like 8 to 10 hours on there, and you have to have so many people get tattooed. I don't really understand or know how it heals, because it's a lot of trauma to the skin, and I don't know how you feel right when that shit wears off and you get back, you got like a whole back piece done. But people doing that shit, and I think that'd be pretty cool, like fucking to get like some like celebrities and stuff, people that are willing to pay like $30,000 to do that shit.
We've heard some crazy numbers from people that we know that they've received that kind of service. And I mean, he had a client that told us that he woke up with like the worst back pain, leg pain ever.
The thing is, like, because you're laying down for so long, you don't accommodate for like your chest, your lungs, just kind of like, and then they're putting pressure on your back already from you just laying down for so long. So they wake up with like chest pain, any other type of pain, because you're just stiff for 8-10 hours. And
it's kind of like with the pre-numbing shit. Right when that shit hits, that shit hits.
Yeah,
no, exactly. Of course. And I'm pretty sure when you wake up, you feel like you got jumped.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the healing process.
Yeah,
for like the next 2-3 days.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's people that do full legs, full backs. Like, your body's gonna go into shock if you don't take care of it right away.
No, that's true.
Oh man. So why color realism, man?
Yeah, I
feel like it's such a vibrant, beautiful thing that you have on your Instagram, and your work is amazing, by the way. We were all looking at it today, and we were like, "Wow, this guy is like,
fuck yeah,
amazing, man!" Like, why color realism? Why this, bro?
Because like I started off doing like graffiti before I started tattooing, and that's when I got arrested. But it's always having vibrant colors, like playing with color theory and shit. But when I first started tattooing, it was black and gray, black and gray, black and gray, and I won a bunch of awards doing that. And I was just like, damn, I want to try color, because with black and gray you can only go in realism based on value and finding the light and having good contrast on there. But when you do color, you can kind of extend it a little bit more, where you're kind of like having subtle differences, and you can play with like contrast with color theory, like complementary colors, and you can even go back with texture. So like, to me, it just gave it a little more oomph in a tattoo with color. And it took me a little minute to kind of really understand, because even when I was taking college classes, they didn't have a color theory class, and I actually learned more about like art as a tattooer than I did in college.
Really?
Yeah, because like the school I went to was FIU, so it wasn't really based on, I guess, how to do drawings and paintings. It was more based on contemporary, like why I wanted to do drawings and paintings at that time.
Art history and stuff
art
like
history. That. I like art history, but contemporary art to me was just like, it has like a cool like vibe with why people do certain things, but it didn't really move me. Like when I look at a painting, I don't break it down like, oh, why someone did that. It's more so I try to break it down and see how they did that. Mm-hmm. So I want to kind of see what is the process they got from like a blank canvas to where they're at the end. So that's how I usually break down any paintings or any art I see.
What about for like when you are tattooing? Do you mix your own colors, or do you prefer to just get something straight out the bottle?
I mean, I like to mix colors.
Yeah.
Word. Okay.
Because I've been trying to get into more like those nuances and with chromatic colors. So essentially like desaturating certain things and having like almost like a color balance where I have like some things are very saturated, some things are desaturated, and you can kind of play with more of the contrast and like kind of direct the eye where you want things to go. Usually like the first thing you see on a piece is the highest point of contrast, and then you go from there, and based on you can kind of build and make the whole design based where you want the eyes to go.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like that's the area.
I love that.
Yeah, that's like the area where I wish I would have like learned a little more of, because I feel like
you can definitely learn that. Like to me, I didn't learn that at school. It was more so it was like the more I want to do color, I was like looking at these like color realism artists, and I would kind of see it's like, yo, how do they get those like tones are like grayish, but they're on there, and then they would show me like looking at the reference, you can kind of up the saturation always to the highest. So you see where those gray tones, you see what the underlying color is, and then you mix it with certain colors, either complementary colors or mixing it with grays or stuff.
So when you're packing in, for example, let's say you're doing a portrait of the Mona Lisa, right? Do you start packing in grays before you pack in the colors, or how do you layer up your
I'll mix it. I'll mix it as I go. So I like to hit the color and just pack it in. So I'll mix it. If I have like a color that's like red and I want to kind of mute it down a little bit, I'll either do is take the complementary color and mix it with that, and then it'll bring down instead of, because like one thing I remember from one of my art teachers, she was actually looking at my first couple tattoos after like I finished going to school, and she was telling me I was like doing like a realistic apple, and she's saying if you want to get those deeper reds, you don't put black into it. What you do is you mix green into it, and it gives a more realistic feel for it. And then when you have colors, I guess, opposite in the color wheel, it's like a line of hues. It's almost like a 50-50 mix in the middle. Yeah. So if you add more of this color, it brings it down. So you can stay in the same hue and the same there just by mixing the complementary color for it without actually trying to find like a red that's a little bit darker that might be maybe pushed more into purple or into the opposite color.
Wow. So color theory.
Yeah. So I guess based off of that, if you want to make the red darker, right, you get the green. But what if you want to make the red lighter? Do you go to complementary color? Because the complementary would be red, wouldn't it?
It would be on there, but you wouldn't want to do it because like when you mix it, it brings it down to the middle. Yeah. Where it's like grays and browns. So if you want to bring it up there, you got to either mix it with a brighter color or like white, or but like when I do my reds, I have like. Because the thing is with reds, it's kind of weird because like the brightest like natural red is still like a mid-tone. And if you want to get it to there, I mix it with like a carmine, which is almost like a pink. Like a pinkish red, and then I add coral and then white to that coral. And then I have that like tone that makes it bright. Because for a minute I was just doing straight red, and I would get like lipstick red or something like that. And I'll be like, yo, that's the highest point. But then when I realized if you take if you take a picture of like all your bottles and those reds and you put it into black and gray, it tells you where that value's at.
This is what Matt was talking about, bro.
Yeah, this it tells you where that value's at, and if that value is like the brightest red and it's like a mid-tone, it's not gonna look like a mid-tone on the tattoo or anything.
Of course, a lot of sense.
So I'll usually mix in like the whites or like pinks into it, where it'll bring it up, or even like cream, like from Industry Inks.
Yeah, it's amazing because sometimes I'm walking around, the conventions, and I'm seeing color artists, and I see like 40, 50 colors laid out, and I'm like how?
Yeah, like how do you even...
Where do you begin? And like what's the starting point for something like this? It just looks, especially for you guys, like you and Matt, you guys have so much depth and dimension and composition into your work that I'm like, how do you begin this? It's such an amazing thing, man.
It's a lot of trial and error. Like the thing is, like I keep on trying to develop like how much contrast I can add to it, because like to me, like, you can do any colors on like a portrait, but if you understand the values, how dark the lights and colors are, you can make a portrait with any color on it.
Wow.
Like, you say if you put some glasses on and you can only see things in black and gray, and you just take a bunch of colors, but you don't know what colors are there, but you can understand the values
of them. Yeah,
you'll be able to like make the piece look good.
Wow.
That changes everything.
Yeah,
it does.
That changes
it
everything,
does.
bro.
I feel
That's
like
really
I watched. Correct me if I'm wrong. I saw a documentary about animals and how sometimes like elephants they paint, and I think elephants are colorblind, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And they use the same system, which is like the grayscale, but since they can't see color, they see it in the grayscale because that's how they see it. So it all makes sense because it's the same concept that you're applying to your color, but just reverse it so that it's line terms.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
that's usually because like when I was like looking on like how like old school like painters, oil painters, they do traditional paintings. They'll sit up in different like sections. They'll start off with underpainting and then they'll go to a grisaille, which essentially is just black and gray of the images, but you're kind of figuring out where the light source and where you want the things to be focused at, and then you add the colors over it on there. And that kind of gave me that where it's like the importance of like the value of something versus just the color.
So how long does it take you to do like an average piece, or what does like a full day look like for you?
Man, it depends, because like if it's black and gray, I can hit a forearm in one day, just having good contrast, positive negative relationships. But if it's color, it can go either I can do it in a day or it might take me 3 sessions. It all depends on the amount of detail and the amount of different colors they're varying in there. It's like, because the more colors, the longer it takes me to do something, because I have to kind of think about it. Because a lot of times I like to mix as I go and not like pre-mix. So it's like I'm kind of thinking, oh, this is how this is going to look. And I tend to try to approach it more as a painting than me trying to just like copy what I see.
Yeah.
And I try to see what's going to be better for the skin tone versus like just seeing what on the image.
Of course. Are you using iPad to draw? Are you drawing on paper? Or what's your beginning of your progress? Your creative.
I mean, right now I'm doing everything on iPad, but I'm doing more so is where I'm kind of adjusting over images. So I'll take a lot of images and I'll put into black and gray first, and then I'll overlay colors on top of it, and then I'll add certain things because I'm trying to make my pieces more graphic with realism, where it's like it cuts down like half my day of just having all that little detail work throughout a whole piece. I can just have one area of focus, have solid black in there, and then have like solid colors. Because the thing is, I realized when I was going through so many tattoo conventions and doing too many trying to get awards, a lot of times they would like the realism, but they would never like, oh, this is tattoo of the day. But it's when I started doing like solid black in there, line work, and making things look like a part of it heavy detail and the rest more open and free, I tend to win more awards that way, and people tend to see it better. It holds over time, lasts a lot longer, has a lot more contrast, and it's just more eye-catching.
Do you still do like a lot of conventions nowadays, or how does that work?
Yeah, like this year I'm already at 15.
Damn.
How many have
I've only done like 3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
That'd be overwhelming sometimes.
No, it gets in there like in 3 weeks I have 5 or 6 conventions in a row.
Sheesh.
And then I come back, and then I'm doing 3 shows, 1 in Cali and 1 in China and 1 in Germany.
Wow.
Like, do you have you ever taken your massage bed when you go, or do you usually just rent it?
That's a good question.
Well, all right. If I'm driving, I'll take it. If I'm flying, if it's a Villain Arts convention, they rent beds there. If not, I'm kind of fucked. But I don't really do too many shows that are not Villain Arts because I have like, I get a free booth because the whole Inkmaster shit. And then I know for a fact, like I can go there with like the minimal stuff and be able to work on a bed, feel comfortable. And because to me, like when I first started working at Chico's, we used to not have nothing like that, and I got used to working tight spots. I didn't care, but now if I want to go, I want to be more comfortable. I want to be able to.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because I really don't go to conventions to make money anymore like how I used to. I'll go in, hit it, do 2 big tattoos a day, try to make as much money as possible. Like sometimes even kind of rush the tattoo a little bit just to make the money. Now it's like I'm going in, I'm doing a smaller tattoo, trying to get done in for tattoo a day, put it in. It's more like a luxury to get my name out there versus trying to need money.
Wow. Real quick, before we take a break on our first segment, you mentioned after Inkmasters you did 50 shows, or you were lined up to do 50 shows?
I was lined up to do 50 shows because I was going to do 50 shows, including guest spots and stuff like that. So essentially I would have been home for like 1 week of the whole year.
Wow, was that part of the promo for Inkmaster? Or
No, that was just me because like I was already doing the shows anyways, and at that time I was like, I want to gonna get my name out there. I'm gonna be on TV. Might as well just do all these shows. And then with Villain Arts, they give a free half booth for all the contestants that were on Inkmaster.
Wow.
So for me, it's like I might as well take advantage of that because I was paying for booths and shit like that before, and now I can just go and only have to worry about land travel and stuff like that. So it's like I'm gonna do as many as possible while I still have the luxury where I don't have to pay for a booth.
Right.
Wow.
And that's for Villain Arts only.
Yeah, Villain Arts only, and there's some other conventions I'll do it. And then I'm sponsored with like 8 different companies, so it's like a lot of times the rest ones I just kind of go in like FYT's booth or MD Wipeout's booth or something like that.
Nice.
Wow. What's your, for the people that don't do conventions or are looking into conventions, what's your top 3 that you say you got to go to these 3?
Man, I really like Golden State, more so not for to go make money. Is more so to go see Cali and see the area, the amount of good artists are out there, because like when I go to conventions now I kind of want to gain something from someone that I look up to and shit.
Of course.
So a lot of times I kind of still have those questions. I'm still trying to learn how I want to improve how I do my application and my tattooing. So it's like a lot of times I'll kind of have these questions in my head and I'll go to these conventions to see those certain artists. So it's Golden State. Puerto Rico is one of my favorite shows. Like,
I'm telling you, you gotta do Puerto Rico.
Was good.
Puerto Rico is like, first of all, is beautiful in Puerto Rico. It's like a vacation in the year, and they have like some of the best artists. They're not usually in the normal circuits in the United States. So you're getting a lot of South American artists, Caribbean artists from Europe and shit, and a lot of artists that I've always looked up to that I've never seen in other conventions. Like James Hex was out there, and like all these artists that I've like really looked up to. I was like, all right, I love doing, because like Yalsi has the pull like that.
Yeah,
he's been around the industry so long. He knows so many people on there, so it's like he's inviting all his friends. It's like a great time. It's he takes us out, and we get to go see the island, get to Yunque, La Placita, and shit.
Is that convention invitation only, or is that, who's that under?
Is under I think Yalsi throws it, and him and another guy. But if you email them, they'll either say yes or no. But it's supposed to be. I don't really see anything that's invitation only, because you can go ask, and
of course.
If your work stacks up, they'll let you go in and shit.
Go tell them Jordi sent us.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, put it in. We got a booth together.
What about the third one, man? What's the third one?
Oh, man, it's probably I like Chicago just because I like Chicago, but it's either that one or. Man, China I went to right before COVID, like 6 months before COVID.
No way.
Because I'm sponsored with FYT, and they throw a convention in Xi'an. They pay for my trip out there. It was such a fucking great time. I fucking love China.
Damn,
interesting.
bro.
Right before COVID.
Literally, I came back and it's like that's when everything went down. COVID fucked up a lot for me. I was supposed to go to Germany. I was supposed to go back to China. It ruined my whole like fucking on the road for a whole year.
Yeah, 2020 shut down.
And our season never had anyone win the finale for our season. We didn't even have a live finale.
Jordi, man. Wow. 50 conventions in the year. Do you believe that, P-Lo? How do you feel?
Bro,
you've only done 4 so far, right?
Yeah, I was telling them that even to me, like, I guess because when we fly like as a team. And for us to have to like take the banners and all the other shit that you take, I feel like it is overwhelming, especially in the airport. Yeah. And then even transportation, because it's 8 of us. So it's a lot, but I feel like listening to your story, I'm like, damn, I'm a bitch because I can't do
that. The thing is, I got like almost conditioned to do so many shows being with Chico's, because like literally we would be in we first started in like a regular van, so we were really tight in there. But it would be like 8 to 10 of us, and we would all head out there, and we'll drive. And the thing is, driving from Miami is like. It's like at least 15 hours anywhere we
You're
went.
in the corner of the country,
yeah. Like getting out of Florida is like 6 to 8 hours. So it was like I got so used to doing so many shows and then not having to drive and shit half the time and then come back. I got kind of like conditioned, like, all right, I really like doing these. And then a lot of times it's just I do smaller tattoos and they don't take as long. So I kind of finish by 9, tattoo a day. And then I don't know, to me it's like I like being around my peers that I usually don't be around with, and then having the reaction of them looking at my tattoos kind of gives me gets me pumped up to tattoo.
That makes sense.
What about like, I'm curious to know your setup or like what you take. I'm sure you have it like narrowed down to
your convention package. Yeah.
If I'm driving, I overpack. I hate going to a convention and not having what I need. Like I'll bring my chair, armrest, a bed. I'll bring all my inks. I'll make sure I have like enough needles to like fucking do 10 to 15 tattoos and shit, even though I'm just doing 3.
Per usual.
Now, when I fly, I have a Pelican Air box that once you fill it all, it's about like 50 to 70 pounds.
Oof.
And I can kind of carry everything like that. And then I have another like suitcase with my luggage for my light. Like the main thing is having my light and my inks and my needles and my machines, and that's it. But
what about clothes? Do you is that a second thought?
I mean, it depends, because like it's like I first, when I first started doing it, I was taking like a bunch of different shoes, different clothes, and now I realized throughout the whole weekend I would not fucking wear any of that fancy shit because I know I was gonna get fucked up tattooing. So it's like it'll be for one night to go out and drink, and that's it. Like either the strip club or something like that. But most of the times I'll bring a pair of black shoes, black pants, and like 10 different shirts and shit like that, and just have it just to go in to work. Or I'll just go to Sullen and buy all like half the shirts and shit.
I was gonna say, I mean, the convention does have full outfits sometimes.
They pretty much got everything you need. Like even if you forget something, they got everything you need. So
no, that's true.
Man.
I don't get too worried about it.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to materials and supplies, tend to be okay. If you forget something. You want to ask him about the big question that we put down here? Remember the one after what's your setup?
Let me see, because we wrote a few questions where I was like, I want to know everything about Jordi.
Hey, Scratch, do me a favor, Scratch. Can you get a little video of us, just like, and then just airdrop it to me later?
Oh yeah, bro. Inkmaster.
Oh man.
So I feel like I just had a bunch of questions because I was thinking.
I'm sorry. You ready? Just while we talked. All right. Ask the question again. My bad, bro.
Yeah, bro. So Inkmaster, right? I have a bunch of questions, but I guess to start, how did you even get in Inkmaster? Like, I mean, besides your work being so good,
So the first time I applied for Inkmaster was as a joke. It was in maybe year 3 to tattooing. And I seen one of my coworkers apply online, and I was like, "Yo, you can do that shit." I didn't know you can apply. I thought they just had people on there. So I went on, and the first page was literally ask for 2 pictures and a picture of yourself on your Instagram, and then it brings you this next like page with a lot of fucking like I'm talking about like maybe like 30 minutes of worth of questions.
Like a background check.
Background check, not even background check. It was more so like, oh, what kind of style of tattooing you do? If you do this, what do you kind of describe this and that? And I did the first part, submitted, and I was like, nah, I don't even want to fucking do that shit. But then I got a call 2 weeks later from Inkmaster, and they're like, "Yo, you want to fucking do a Skype interview?
Yo, finish your application.
That's crazy. You want to do a Skype interview?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And then that's when it kind of clicked in my head that there's a real possibility I can get on the show. But they didn't hit me up after that. They told me like, "All right, it's not gonna be this season." So I was like, "All right, it was kind of close. Let me try again next season." I did it for 12, and I got past the Skype interview. So they have like kind of like different rounds of like interviews and shit. So the first interview is a Skype interview, and then after that they give you all this paperwork. You have to take a psychological test.
Interesting.
They start asking me about what wardrobe I would like to wear, because they have a kind of like almost like a formula for each contestant and shit like that, what type of things they wear, so it doesn't kind of mix and match, because everybody likes just wear black and shit.
Of course, yeah. That's crazy.
So like I was doing that season 12, so I was like, yo, I'm gonna be on season 12. Literally the day that season 11 finale, they're like, not this season, but they told me, yo, apply for next season. That's when I applied again for season 13, and I went through and I got on, and I was like, oh, this is fucking dope. But the thing is, they don't let you know shit. You don't find out till a week before you have to be there.
No way.
Yeah, like for season 12, I thought I was gonna really be on it. I wasn't smoking for a while. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get prep, do all this shit, and then it didn't happen. So I was just like, for the last part, I was like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm gonna smoke till the last day I can get on there and shit.
Damn, that's crazy.
Wait,
Wow.
they drug test you?
They don't drug test you, but you can't smoke while you're on there.
Yeah.
You can have all alcohol you want, and they cater for you, and they bring all this shit. But smoking weed, that shit ain't allowed over there.
At least the withdrawals won't be whooping your ass if you like,
Right. Hey, so wait, I'm guessing you guys were shooting out in LA, or where were you guys shooting in?
For my season was actually the last season they had in the United States. Was they usually film the main bases in New Jersey.
Interesting.
So like it's just like one big ass building. The loft is upstairs. Like all the other rooms are like downstairs. So it's like essentially we lived in that building for the whole time we were there. The only times we left was to go to fucking flash challenges, and that's it.
How long was the whole time that you were there?
I was there for a month.
Okay.
If you made it to the finale, it's like 2 months.
Okay.
Wow.
So I made it like about halfway through it.
What about behind the scenes? Are you like shooting an episode every day, or do they give you like some time to chill and
It's essentially, I mean, I guess I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but like each episode looks like it's a week apart. It's every day. Bam, 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 bam. You're waking up at 6 a.m. They're like getting you dressed, putting mics on, doing your makeup.
Yeah.
They're gonna tell you what to wear. So like each person, like on the for my season, I only wore shorts. Only one episode I wore pants because we had to wear pants because we were outside.
So shorts was your thing?
Yeah,
technically?
my shorts, and then I had like those they look like dress shirts but with cut off sleeves or like on there with like funny shit on like sushi and shit like that. So I got kind of branded that's what I wear and shit like that. So it's like I wore something like that, but they would pick what color combinations I would wear. So I just bought a whole bunch of clothes. They gave me a couple other ones when I was there, and every morning they would pick, are you gonna wear this shirt with these pants? And I'll get set up and that'll be it.
Wow.
What's like one thing you just didn't like about it?
To me, it's like I love the whole experience because it felt like tattoo summer camp, and I would go back on in a heartbeat in a second. But I'm not that really type of confrontational type of person. I don't like to talk shit about it unless I really mean it. So to me, it's like a lot of people on there, they kind of act more like an asshole.
They dramatize it. Yeah.
They dramatize it, and they kind of like try to set it up where it's like, are you going to be talking to this person? And to me, I felt not genuine trying to do that. So it was like I never came off like, oh, I'm gonna go talk shit about this person. Even with my exit interview, a lot of other people was like, oh, nah, this person should have eliminated that. I was like, nah, man, I could have did this and changed it up. It was like, for me, just being on the show, because I watched the show before I tattooed, like, damn, I'm on TV. I was happy as fuck. Like, no matter like how bad my past was or anything like that, I was happy to be there. And I'm not the type of person to dwell on like past issues and drama and shit like that. And that's fortunately that's the kind of shit they like to see because that's what people want to see. And
they want something that's gonna get views. You know? I don't blame you. I feel like that's the reality of TV now. You want that drama. You want that reality TV. You know, you want those plots that give you drama, fights, arguments, screaming, all that stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of it. I mean, nothing's ever scripted on there. So it's like a lot of it is like genuine people's reactions and shit. But it's a lot of times people as contestants understand drama sells, so they kind of went off, and a lot of times we were like talking to each other like, yo, we know we're not, don't take it personal if I talk shit about you. Even with that, I just felt weird and not me to do that, and I just wanted to be myself. So a lot of times I seemed like I was more quiet and shit like that because I just wasn't I didn't really like the whole part where like after you tattoo you go upstairs and shit and you can't say anything, you're on ice until like they bring out all the cameras, and then they start off with like, who you think had the worst tattoo, and then bam, someone be like, no, this person. Yo, people get pissed off about that shit.
Oh,
it's like,
my god.
and I was like, damn, that's the only part that I really didn't enjoy. But aside from that, the shows, like the whole time I was there was amazing. I was surrounded a lot of good artists. My tattooing went up a lot better once I got off it.
Really?
It kind of like let me see how people were tattooing in different styles, because it was like not easy for me because like I was there maybe 4 years into tattooing when I was on my season, and at that time I was only doing realism, black and gray, a little bit of color here and there, but I wasn't doing anything with line work. I wasn't doing any neo trash shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of went into a situation where half the contests in the beginning were all those type of tattoos. And I'm going against people that only do that shit. So it's like I'm more behind the ball, and I like trying to just like catch up and not have like the experience. Made me understand like I got to take things from a different type of styles and kind of incorporate it and like use those in style so I can be very efficient what I do.
Of course. Were they timing you? Were they very strict when it came to like you have 6 hours to complete this tattoo?
Look, everything
on the dot.
Everything's on there. The time is on there, right? The only thing that's like different from what you see on TV is like Dave Gnarl's not there at the beginning and telling us like, you got 1 hour left. He literally they filmed that shit right in the beginning. He says like his 10 lines and he's gone, and then in the middle like fucking it was Nunez and fucking Oliver would come in, and they would just come in there and make little comments as there. But aside from that, like I didn't really see anybody in my season where we had an issue with time, because everybody did like a 4-hour tattoo in 6 hours, and they had time, they were done. But it's more so it's like the time that was hard was not having enough time to prepare for the design. Yeah. So when we found out what we were tattooing, it was right then and there. Like we had an hour to max 2 hours to design, come up with the color scheme and do all that shit. And when you're doing drawings, it's easy if I'm just taking like Photoshop and putting things together like that, but when you kind of have to draw things out and you haven't drawn in that type of style, it takes a minute to kind of get in the right flow, of course, and then try to beat out people who do that shit every day.
Wow.
Do they allow you to use like a reference? Like if you wanted to just pull your phone out and use that to draw?
Well, they take your phone out for the whole day, but if you have your iPad, you can get references on there. But
Okay.
you couldn't get references. Like I couldn't take a picture for someone and then tattoo that picture because you have to have the licensing for it. So
Interesting.
they pay for Shutterfly. So a lot of things were, I mean, mainly I don't really have that many things where I could like just take an image and put it on there. Everything was like I had to draw it on and like kind of like change it up and shit like that. And doing that within 2 hours is not easy to go against people that do that shit every day.
Of course. What about when it came to like the canvases and the people? Like, do you know how those people get like, I guess, auditioned to the show? Or?
It's the same way they have to do application online, and a lot of times they're from the general area around there. I actually saw a lot of people from Maryland.
Wow.
There were a lot of people from Maryland out there, but I mean they go in and I don't really know what the process is. We don't really get to talk to them aside from when we're tattooing, or I chilled with a couple of them after and met with them after and shit like that, but. Other than that, like they didn't really tell us like the whole process what it took for them. I mean, I'm assuming they had to fill out the paperwork, be kind of cool, whatever the fuck they wanted us to do and shit. But a lot of times, I feel like the people who are assholes on that are not really assholes because they want to be assholes because they just want to have more. They want to get their 5 minutes of fame.
They want that time on TV.
Yeah.
Do those people get some sort of saying in what they get, or is it just like whatever the challenge is, that's what you're getting in?
I mean,
and there's no options.
It comes off if like that's what they want, but I'm not 100% sure if that's really what they want. I think it has a lot to do with like, oh, you got to do this one and do that. But I mean, I felt like most of the tattoos were the people that really wanted. Like I did a schematic of an airplane, and like the guy who got it, that was his actual like his first solo flight.
Oh,
so
wow.
I did a picture of that actual tattoo on there. So that was like one that he really kind of wanted, and that worked out in my favor. And then I think like a couple other ones, like people were just like, yeah, like I didn't have any issues with my clients. The only one was where it was maybe the crack and he wanted to add more color on it, and I kind of wanted to change it up, and I was just like, I just got to do this. But that was the one I felt like I should have got eliminated on, which I didn't, and I felt like I shouldn't have got eliminated on the tattoo I did get eliminated.
So I was gonna ask you, what was that tattoo you got eliminated with?
Oh man, it was weird because it was supposed to be a pig hanging upside down on top of a grill and having ribs on the grill. And she wanted it on her ribs originally, but I talked her down to doing her leg.
Ain't no way.
And I talked her down to doing her leg, and I actually liked the tattoo, but they kind of tried to tell me with the ribs like a little piece of turd or something. I was like, bro, what the fuck? You want me to draw a neo-trial, like a new school fucking rib? Like, it looked like that shit to me, and like, I didn't think I should have got eliminated. Maybe because I guess that one day the theme was color theory, and I could have added more like reds and flames into it, which I kind of didn't. But at that time, I was just like, I just got to get something in there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really have too much time to think. You have to just like kind of do.
Of course, yeah.
And shit.
Do you see yourself going back and auditioning?
I mean,
again?
I would do it in a heartbeat. Like now, I feel like if I go in now, I feel like I can make it to the finale just because I'm more well-rounded in other styles and I'm more confident in other styles. Like, and I do it like every day. I'm doing different things, so it's like I feel like I'm more catered to be versed into like a competition like that than I was at that time.
That's amazing, man. Well, if you do, we're gonna be cheering for you.
No, I got one in that jump, bro.
Yo, if they ever hear this, put me back on.
Yeah,
Yo,
put him
I'm
on.
ready.
Inkmasters,
Get
let's
me
get
back
Jordi
in there.
please.
What about like machine setup? Did they have any limitations onto what you could use and what you
No.
couldn't?
Like the only thing is they have licensing with certain companies. So I'm sponsored by a couple other companies. So a lot of my shit got taped on the logos and shit. So you can really see it. But other than that, you can bring your own supplies. They provide you with a lot of shit. They provide you a lot of inks from Eternal. They had like fucking, it was like literally a fucking nice ass shop. They had everything on there, and like I never had any issues with like supplies or anything like that.
Wow.
Okay.
And what were the pros of being an Inkmaster that you feel like are still benefiting you and benefiting you after?
The biggest one is be able to get the free booths at Villanart shows. Like to me, that's like I'm saving $350 to $700 every show.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So it's like essentially like a day rate I'm not having to pay and shit like that. But to me, it's like I really didn't see the big influx of like followers, because at the time I already had like 20,000 plus followers at the time. And when I got off, and like within the first year or 2 years, I only added like maybe 5,000 followers. So like the only people that saw a spike in their Instagram were usually the top 5.
Makes sense.
On there and shit like that. So it's like it did help me when I'm pricing out. I'm like, yo, I'm telling you a price, and a lot of people come in, I just want to get because you were on the show and shit like that, and it made it easier to make those certain prices I was doing. But other than that, I didn't see a very initial like change in everything. It wasn't until like maybe like a year or two more where more people got to see the episodes and see the show, where I'll have people come in and like, oh, let me take a picture of you. I only had one time, maybe twice in like person outside in the street, not being in a convention or a shop where someone's like, oh, you were on that show and shit. Like that's the only time that was like I had that happen. But at conventions that happens regularly, because usually a lot of Inkmaster fans are like super fans, so they'll come by and they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna take a picture with you and do all that shit.
That's what's up, man. Do you have the Inkmaster logo on your banner? Or
no, I don't. I don't really. I never really cared too much about that. Like a lot of people, a lot of like other artists will use it, and which is smart. But to me, it's like I don't want to be remembered for my time on Inkmaster. I want to be remembered for the type of work I do.
There you go.
And then they'll be like, that would just be like a plus. Oh, you were also on Inkmaster too.
Of course,
like,
yeah.
So like to me, it's like I don't really need to pimp it out because I've done so many shows and I've been into those areas, like those conventions, like 5-6 times. So I already have clientele in those spots. It's just more so it just opened up a lot more avenues for like getting sponsorships and talking to like different, I guess, companies about stuff like that.
No, yeah, that makes perfect sense because just looking at your Instagram, your social media, I didn't notice. And then we clicked at your website, and then we dig through it, and then we see Inkmaster, and we're like, like, hey guys, we're gonna have an Inkmaster guy at the fucking shop today.
Bro, when he said that, I was surprised.
That was crazy because like my season was the last season in the United States. It was the only season that did not have a finale, which I was so pissed about because they were supposed to do it in Orlando. My parents live in Orlando now. We were gonna be in Universals for like fucking 4 days. It was gonna be the first time that I got to be around the whole cast without having any animosity or anything because we were on the show and shit going against each other. More so we can go hang out, drink and shit like that. But like I have a lot of good friends I met from Inkmaster from my season and other seasons too and shit. So like that also is another like pro that I had on there.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's pretty cool.
problem.
I feel like we never had the insight to, that show that everyone likes to watch. We always put it on here at the shop and just have it in the background, and then we'll look at it. Oh, wow, they fucked up here, they fucked up there.
Yeah. And the crazy part, it's like, we'll be doing tattoos or like the size like this big. Bro, they put it on a like 50, 65-inch screen. Bro, you look in, you see every fucking little wiggle and shit like that. And it's like, like I've had one day where I think it was something, I did like it was like a galaxy with like a little compass rose on there. And like, the tattoo looked amazing in person. But when they put it up there, that shit looked janky as fuck. And I was just like, God damn. Even like Oliver, like they set me up for failure. Because like Oliver was like, I saw in a person and it looked good. Because like a lot of times they were saying, oh, you're going to get tattooed today for this one, this one, this one. And then bam, I got like a harsh ass critique. And like to me, like the hardest part was like the critique days. Because critique days was a whole fucking day. Because you don't realize like when you're there, like the tattooing is the easy part. You're waking up at 6 a.m. You got to fucking do all this wardrobe and do all this. You got to walk into that room 10 to 15 times. First, you walk in where they're going to figure out where you're going to stand. They put tape down. They make sure like every camera has a good angle of you. You're not too close to some person. Everything's spaced out right. And then once they get that right, you go in 3 times because they have 3 different type of cameras to kind of check it out. And you have to like, by that time it's like 10, 15, 20 minutes just you walking into that place.
So you walked into their media train. You knew how to behave in front of the camera.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, probably not.
No, I mean, you're doing such a great job here with the questions. Bro. Like, it's just like, I feel like questions keep coming out. Yeah. That's amazing, man. For this. Yeah. I was going to ask you another question, man. Where do you see yourself with tattooing in the future now that, you've accomplished, being at this show, you might go back and your work is, growing and it's amazing. Like, where do you see yourself in the next 10, 15, 20 years? Like,
man, 15, I mean, I'm already 38. So like to me, like the next step is to like own a shop, not have like just like a, because like right now we have like office space, but I want to be like a shop owner and be able, because I know I only have like a good like 10 years of like high quality tattooing left in me.
You think?
I mean, maybe at how I'm tattooing now, like I'd probably still be able to tattoo well into my maybe like 60s or something like that, but I don't think I'll be able to have the same amount of like energy as I tattoo right now.
Your intensity
and stuff like that. So I kind of want to transition to being a shop owner. Also, I want to do more paintings and kind of like figure out what I can do to make money aside from like tattooing, and then have it when I tattoo is only because I really want to.
That makes sense. Wow, shop owner.
Yeah, I think that's my goal too. Like, I know I'm not that old because I'm only 31, bro, but I feel like the older I get, the more I'm like, damn, like don't see myself tattooing for like into the 60s. Honestly,
No.
I wanna be able to make some income.
And you got to make that passive income have like more than one route of income come in.
What do you think yours would be?
Oh man, hopefully like probably just painting. I want to get good at oil painting. That's where I really want to get and be able to sell paintings and then sell prints and like understand, maybe have like some certain type of businesses aside from tattooing. Maybe like a laundromat or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
something where I could would make money.
Something
and
like that'll run itself.
Yeah. Would you do some sort of real estate, or maybe like have a shop where, you know, you don't have to go in there, but you know it's under your name, or what do you think it'll be a good way to?
I think about maybe having like I mean, I want to start like a good foundation to have like one main shop on there, and then have, because I want to be able to have a shop where it's like the artists can be able to come in and then eventually become part owners in different shops, because that was the model that Chico did in Miami. And that's why I have mad respect, because like, I wouldn't be tattooing if it wasn't for Chico, because Chico asked me to go out. He took me out to meet all these like big time names and shit, because he had Tattoo Baby working in his shop before I was there.
Shit.
And he had like High Noon that was on the Tattoo Nightmare Miami.
Yeah.
Like, he had a squad before when I got there and shit. And they all left, and then I was like part of the new squad, and then it's like kind of influx of like new artists coming in. But like how he was doing it, he had like his artists had an opportunity to kind of be a part owner of a shop in another location. So he was making money on multiple locations. He might not have to run the shop, but he would be part of the money, the initial investment there. So it's like he had multiple different locations that had his artists become shop owners and shit like that. And so he was making money on that. So I kind of want to do something in that fashion, on that way around there.
That's awesome, man. I feel like that would be a good way to see your money grow and see your brand grow, because you can have Jordi tattoos and become Jordi Tattoo 1, 2, 3, 4, and have them all over the place.
Talking about that, we were talking about having Black Flamingo be like the Marwa, and then have it called the Flock, and have like a bunch of different like pink flamingo, red flamingo, shit like that.
I mean,
flamingo,
honestly,
like that.
hey, register that, because that's a good concept.
Yeah.
You have
matter of fact, cut that from the video, bro. People don't have to know
I mean,
that.
we know now. Yeah. There's a date on this episode, so I mean, honestly, that's a great idea. I mean, you know, Black Flamingo, pink flamingo, red.
Yeah,
you can do the whole rainbow, man.
And not only does it benefit you, bro, it propels other artists to be great, bro. And like, it shows you that the ceiling is like, bro,
out there. And the biggest thing I learned working for like other people, especially in the last couple other shops, I don't want to feel like I'm just taking money from them. I want them to be in a situation where they're going to be able to grow and get bigger, and
of course,
and have like them open up their own thing. So it's like I want people to want to come work for me, not just work for me. I don't want to look at them just as a number.
Of course, yeah.
Like to me, it's like I can like that's like my way of giving back to the community, where it's like I didn't think I was gonna make money. I never thought I was gonna have a fucking Tesla. I'm not gonna have all this shit. And then tattooing afforded me the luxuries to live this type of lifestyle. So I want people to like have that same opportunity. I mean, they're gonna have to put the work in, and
100%.
Like, because if not, like I'm not gonna just like give it to them. But like I want to reward it. I want to reward the people that they're coming in, they're working hard, and have them have this type of lifestyle also.
Wow.
Have you considered having any apprentices, or do you have any?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
I've had a couple on there, and I feel like now I'm more equipped to have an apprentice. I kind of want to have one once we have like a more like a new shop, like a location, because to me, like, I love teaching. I love like kind of explaining, and to me it helps me get better, because I'm constantly revisiting these different type of concepts that you don't really think about in everyday situation. And to me, having someone that's kind of passing the torch, like, oh, you're gonna learn now, you could go make money and shit like that, and kind of bring it that way.
I can see you doing that. I feel like you have a really good way to explain things.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, just how you were talking about color theory, I was engaged, because I was like, wow, like I never examined the color wheel and how the spectrum of color from red to green, what makes that happen.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Wish I would have had my notepad, brother.
But just watch the episode.
Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna get in there.
There's so much to that, like color theory too. Like I do this Explorer conference. It's like a tattoo conference.
Okay. It's funny because my brother's been talking about that. He just went to the last one.
I was in the last one too.
Okay.
Like to me, I love that, because it's more like a classroom setting where they're kind of explaining not really how to tattoo, because we all kind of essentially know how to do application, but it's more so it's like how their process is, how they think about color, how they kind of set up. And then there was one presentation by Liz Cook, she breaks down each color, and she has a formula for eternal, where it's like it's the first letter is the main hue. So if like save is green, that's like going more towards yellow, so it'll be green, yellow, and the next number from a scale from 1 to 10 will be the value of the color, so how dark or how light it is. And the next one is the chroma, which is essentially how saturated it is, being like fully saturated all the way up to gray. And it has like a number system, so you can kind of like figure out like what values or something what the chroma is at, and like it's like a exact science about color and like how colors relate next to each other.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like the whole shop needs to go to that convention or that class.
No, I went to it 5 times.
Wow.
5 different ones, and
you've learned something new every time you go.
It's like every time, because it's not just like a situation where you're just like kind of learning. It's also networking. You're immersed with these like artists that I kind of look up to, and you're in the same hotel with them. You're kind of like, they do a portfolio review, but they're talking about what their process are, how they view certain things, how they color, and it's not just only about like tattooing concepts. It's also about like the business behind it, how to like have a better shop, how to like promote yourself, and like it's a lot of things that you really don't think about on the daily thing that kind of gets you improve in like your daily aspects.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I feel like we should definitely take that.
No, definitely. This last time we couldn't do it because we went to Houston for the tattoo convention. But next time I definitely want to do that.
I think they're having one in like 2 months in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
Right after the Fort Wayne tattoo convention.
So that's kind of similar to like tattoo conventions where they're jumping from like state to state.
Yeah. So with them, they're the guys that throw. They're from like Studio 13, and they throw a couple conventions. They do Fort Wayne. There's like a Pittsburgh convention and stuff like that. But they do twice a year, and usually it'll be a different area sometimes, and then it'll be in Fort Wayne, where they're from.
All right.
Yeah, so
what do you want to start? What do you want to come back with? Because we took a little break.
Yeah, so right now I was just telling Jordi that I feel like he's just a beast, bro. Like I've been absorbing everything he's been saying to the point where like I don't even know what to say. Like I'm just like, let him talk. Let me not ask no questions, because I feel like the Inkmaster stuff, like I didn't even know that's how it was, bro.
Bro, it's pretty crazy, and I didn't really expect any of that. Like I went in not knowing shit, and I was like, I'm just gonna experience it. And I was like, damn, it was really cool and like nerve-wracking at the same time.
I used to just swear it was scripted. Like everything that they did there, I'm like, it's scripted. Even like the 6 hour, like let's say they give you 6 hours for a tat.
So it's still scripted in the sense where they know everything we fucking say. Like when we do those interview questions, it's literally after like a couple days after we do the episode. And then when we're going there, they're like, they know what we say, so they'll put us in situations like, oh, you talk shit about this person under your breath and shit, and they'll put us in a situation where we gotta talk about shit together. Yeah. So they'll make things seem like how they want it to be seen.
Right, like you guys are beefing behind the scenes.
Yeah, like there was like sometimes there was on there, they have a scene they cut off, and they felt like we were like talking shit or something like that. And in reality, it wasn't that. And a lot of times when they'll have reactions, like a lot of times when people they do their critiques, you think, oh, sometimes, yo, that was a great critique. Bro, they got fucking their asses reamed out like the whole time, and it was like 1 second of a good critique. And it's literally like each person is like 10 to 20 minutes like of them critiquing your tattoo.
Oh, so they go deep.
They go deep, and they only show like a little bit of it. And so they can kind of like play, push and pull how they want things to be viewed, not based on what it is and like what the storyline is on there.
No, I'm sure they mostly emphasize the people that are like top 2, top 3.
Yeah,
they get more screen time because they're out.
Yeah, and then a lot of times they'll do is when they know someone's gonna get eliminated, they'll kind of try to make like extra scenes about them.
Yeah,
and they'll put them in situations where it's like, oh, they're gonna put you with this person, and then you're like, oh, you just gotta talk about shit.
That's what's up, man. Real quick, Jordi, you said something that I always emphasize, especially in the artistic world that we live in. Network.
Yeah.
How important has networking been for you in your career?
The most important, like, if I didn't go out and do conventions and meet all these, I literally have like 8 sponsorships, and it's based on not just based on my work, but based on me like going up and talking to them. My first one was FYT, and I would literally go to the conventions like every year, and I would never buy online. I would make sure that I would buy $400 or $500 worth of needles, but I would go to fucking the person selling out there, and I'd be like, yo, check out my work, and I would constantly show them shit, and it took them about like maybe like 2 years where they'd be like, all right, we want to sponsor you and shit like that. And to me, like the networking is like how you go do guest spots, how you become friends with other artists. Like a lot of times I'm cool friends with Jacob Sheffield, with Pony Lawson, and that was because I met him through conventions on there, and I've been available to do guest spots in certain areas that I probably would never done if I just stayed in Miami, never went out.
Wow.
What about like something that you could tell these upcoming tattoo artists that are like really just starting off, like let's say 18, maybe less than like 25, that don't have that many years? Like, what's something that you could talk to them about, or just tell them to, like, I guess, be better?
Man, study. Like when you do your apprenticeship, the main thing you're going to learn is how to apply a tattoo. But after that, it's all about how much you really want to learn about these like art concepts and understand these like theories and stuff like that. It's going to help you improve your work. Like there's a difference between someone that's just like middle in the line of the road and someone that's like the best in the world, because they put so much extra time to really understand these concepts and use it to apply on their tattoos. And never get stagnant, never feel like you're the best and you're at that point, because you're gonna get stuck and everybody's gonna pass you, and it takes a second. Like you look at Nina in our shop, she's like she's a beast. She's like she's been tattooing 4 years and fucking she got more clients than all of us, and like, and I've been tattooing 9 years and she fucking kills it.
And she's part of a collection for FK Iron, right? Is that correct? Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I saw that they put the ad out for that, and I was like, whoa, Nina's killing it.
It's in there, and it's just crazy. Like, and that's another important reason why you got to go and network and shit, because she came out to a couple conventions. She met Zeke, saying, because I'm also sponsored with FK Irons on there too. So it's like we got to meet all these people and just having those connections where they be able to get those like sponsorships and shit.
That's what's up, man. Well, speaking of networking, we have our sponsor about to deliver us some appetizers for us. So go ahead, come in, bro, come in.
You know what time it is.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is our first time doing this.
What you got for us,
Heido
brother?
actually brought the idea up to us, and we were like, you know what? Let's try it out. My boy Jordi's in the house. Let's see what we could. Let's see if we could surprise him a little bit.
Yes. So this is our boy Heido right here. He has his kitchen. So Heido, real quick, talking to that microphone and let us know what you have for us right there.
Okay.
Look at this camera right here.
Hi, banda. How you doing? You imagine? I got some mini empanadas. I got salmon bites with a twist of orange, and I got some butterfly shrimp as well, but with some a little bit of a spice.
There you go.
I got right now.
This looks delicious, man. Can we get some napkins then, please?
Gotcha. Enjoy, guys. Okay.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
Appreciate you, bro.
Jordi,
Ooh, I'm
Greg,
gonna get one.
P-Look, jump in. I'm about to do an ad read for Clandis Kitchen. So guys, Clandis Kitchen. Today's our sponsor for today's episode is Clandis Kitchen, which is specializes in Mexican style seafood such as shrimp empanadas, ceviche, and our personal favorite, aguachiles. If you're planning an event, be sure to book them. Keep an eye out for their local pop-ups, and don't forget to mention Inklusive Podcast to receive $5 off your order of $25 or more. And remember, estamos bien machine. How do you say it, P-Look?
Machine.
He says it better than any of us, bro.
Yeah, he does say it better than us. You can put it here, bro. Yeah, just put it here. Yeah. Help yourself, guys. Help yourself. Well, first of all, Jordi, what do you think about these?
Immediate reaction.
Amazing.
Say it to the microphone.
Fucking amazing.
Greg, what about you, my boy?
I'm speechless, brother. Honestly.
P-Look.
Well, per usual, bro. This is great.
Yeah, machine.
Hey, what type of sauce is this, bro? I know you said it's a secret sauce, but
It is. He's not even going to tell you.
You're not
It's his
gonna say
sauce.
That's Clandis Kitchen sauce and Bien Machine sauce. There you
machine
go.
sauce.
Machine sauce.
Your machine sauce. So yes, guys. So yeah, if you have an event, hit up Clandis Kitchen. We'll put his social media down below. And like I said, $5 off if you go to him and tell him that you saw Inclusive episode. You know, you'll get $5 off your $25 order or more. And with that being said, let's jump back to the podcast. Let's take a little bit of break. Let's eat for like the next 2 minutes, and then we'll jump on questions so that everyone can digest a little bit of food. All right? All right. We're back. Jordi, what do you think of that food?
It was amazing. I haven't had an empanada out here since I moved from Miami.
Wow, really?
Been a
Was
minute,
it to
yeah.
your Florida standards, bro?
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
There you go. That's amazing,
It's
man.
like some seafood. I haven't had seafood either. Like, the only thing I've been eating here is like Japanese and Korean hot pot and shit.
Interesting.
Korean
There's a lot of
barbecue,
food in Rockville where you at.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good like Asian food. Like we didn't have none of that shit in South Florida.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'm missing is maybe like the Caribbean food. That's what I really miss too.
There's this place in where is it? I think it's in Laurel. It's a Jamaican place, and they have the Jamaican patties with the coconut bread.
And one thing I miss is oxtail and curry goat.
Yes,
fire.
I've tried that before.
Fire.
Drinking night in DC, bro. You know where Echo Stage is at?
I don't. I haven't gone out
Where?
to DC at all since I moved out here.
Jordi, really?
Really? But you've gone around like San Francisco, going to the clubs out there.
Nah, like I haven't been to a club. The only place I've gone was the Block in fucking Pike.
okay,
That was
yeah,
like because
that's
like
it.
Meds tattoos like half the people in there, but it's like that was like the
Interesting.
one spot we go drink and shit. And then
That's
when
a
I
chill
moved up
spot,
here,
too.
it was like COVID, so it's like we really didn't go out. I kind of retired my going out days only to like for conventions or when I go back home to the strip
Yeah.
club in Miami and shit.
That's true.
Like I
They
don't
got
know,
the
it's like,
chicken wings and strip clubs.
I want to
Oh,
see
they
a night
do.
at the strip club with Jordi. See
oh,
how
it's
that
amazing.
gets.
It's like I've been to strip clubs all over. I even been to one in TJ, which was fucking amazing.
I heard they're good down there, bro.
Oh yeah, Hong Kong, bro. That shit.
Really?
Yeah, that shit was fire. It was fire. I had a blast, and I didn't even know you can go out there because my dad went to college in Southern California, and he was like, "Yo, you should go to TJ," because I was in San Diego for the convention.
Down the
You
street
just
from there,
drive
yeah.
there.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
drive in
You
there,
take an Uber. It's 15 minutes to San
You
Pedro.
take an Uber to that?
Yeah, you take an
Wow.
Uber, 15 minutes, and then you literally walk across, and you're supposed to have a passport. But me and my homie Antoine Davis, when we went to go meet up everybody at Hong Kong at the strip club, we get there and we were like so sus because like they drop us off and we're like, are we already in here and shit? No, we had to walk across, and when we went up there, we didn't have our passports. And the guy's like, "You don't have a passport?" He's like, "Come with me." He take us to this other room, and it was like federales and shit. Take us to the other room. It's like, "Yo, it's a $20 no passport pass to get in."
What the
So we were
fuck?
like so happy. We were like, "Yo, take these $20."
We were
Hell
just
yeah.
about to throw them anyway.
Yeah, we're like, we're out there, and then literally you just walk, and right when you walk out, there's like 50 cabs, and you just tell them you want to go to Hong Kong or wherever. They take you right there, and it was fucking. I can't really say what
wait.
happened over there, but it was amazing.
So you're saying the place in TJ is called Hong Kong?
Yeah, it's a strip club.
I thought you went to Hong Kong.
Yeah. I thought you said.
No,
I made it China.
the strip club it's actually really famous, but it's called Hong Kong out there, and it was
TJ, I
a
bet.
fucking amazing time. I was like, I need to go back.
this-
When I go to San Diego, I'm going back there
list.
again.
Bucket list.
Mexico trip
Yeah.
coming
Hong
soon.
Kong and TJ.
Yeah.
Talking about-
That's hilarious, man. Well, let's continue with some more questions, man. I feel like we just you just give us so much
Educational,
information,
bro.
man.
I'm sucking everything in right now, dog.
I was gonna ask you another question. What's your favorite artist to work with? Like you've done a bunch of collabs already, right?
Man, I've done a couple guys. Like I don't really have a favorite artist. I mean, I love working with Meds in the shop and shit because I've been working him since we both were like fucking 2 years of tattooing and shit like that. And I love working on there. But like to me, it's like, anytime I do a collaboration, is like it's always fun for me. It's like because it's like a different experience, and to me, I really love doing collabs with people that do really different shit from me, like the opposite of the spectrum and shit. Because like to me, that's like I can learn something, kind of see what they're doing. But
Yeah.
I do so many collabs. I don't want to say I have a favorite. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that either.
But what about an artist that you look up to?
Man, there's a lot. Like one of my favorite artists right now, Dimitri Samoan. I love his like color realism.
I think Med said the same person for color.
Yeah. Color realism. He's a fucking beast. And then
Sorry, real quick. Do you also use the ink machines?
no, I use FK irons.
Okay.
I use I actually have like 3 different machines, and I use 3 different machines for 3 different purposes. So I have the Flux Max, which is a 4.5, which I use for line work and like heavy saturation color, and then I have a 4.0 XO, which I mainly just do for color realism, and then I have a 3.2 XO, which I use for black and gray. But to me, it's like I still use my Zion.
Really, for what?
I fucking love my Zion for color realism
color?
too,
Okay.
because it's the only thing that has a real mechanical give, and that's like so important when you're doing a lot of color blending and shit like that. Is having that give, because you don't want to kind of like go too much and overwork the skin. So it's like you can do it with like having other types of machines that have like a fixed drive, but you have to kind of adjust how you stretch the skin. I don't overstretch, and where it's too tight, what I'll do is sometimes I'll just stretch a little bit, because you need a little bit of that like elasticity in the skin to kind of have the ink deposit in the skin, and you don't overwork. Because if you're pulling super straight down hard and you're trying to hit it in there, it's gonna rip the skin.
That makes sense.
And then you're like, imagine there's like millions of holes and you're pulling it on there. What's gonna happen? They rip.
Yeah.
So like I put very minimal pressure, and sometimes I even pinch it where it has like a concave, where it's like it has that tension on there.
Like on the shin, maybe.
Like on the shin on there. Even then, I'll just go in there and I'll kind of float my hand. Like the biggest thing I realized was like I don't put hand pressure down on my wrist. Mm-hmm. I float my hand and I let the needle do its work, because like my understanding is like the hole gets put in the skin, and then once the needle comes out, the ink gets pulled in from vacuum. So pushing in doesn't create any more ink into the skin. You don't push the ink into the skin. So I like to float it right out there, and I don't like to have too much pressure. It's helped me do like 2-3 day sessions work where I'm not having like overworked skin or anything like that.
That makes sense.
Do you feel like any like back issues or hand issues, like any problems that have arisen from just tattooing so long?
Oh, my back's like really fucked.
Yeah.
Well, at least my shoulder, like the muscle in my shoulder, and I always get a knot in my right. But I'm trying to get it's called a new chair,
I know exactly
chair on
what
there,
you're talking about.
where it like sits up front, where it kind of keeps your back straight. I already have like terrible posture anyways, so that's the one thing I definitely want to improve, because like usually the biggest fear I have is having a back issue, and where it's like I can't, like if I have a little minor ache and it doesn't go away right away, it fucks with me. It's like I hate that shit.
No, that makes sense. I feel like for you guys, it's your hands, your eyes, and then I'm guessing your back. You know,
my eyes are starting to get like fucking.
Do you use glasses?
I have like I'm like either near side or far side. So anything that's like too close, it blurs up and then like causes strain. So I had a pair of glasses. Luckily, I don't tattoo up here like this. I tattoo up here, so it doesn't have a problem with it. But I need to start wearing glasses, because like I play a lot of Call of Duty, and I'm on that shit all day, and my shit starts to get blurry, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting old. I know it now.
Damn, bro. So you do 50 conventions a year, and then you still got time for Call of Duty?
All day. The thing is, like, I love Call of Duty because, like, I try to separate myself from like tattooing when I'm at home, because if I'm just like thinking tattoo 24/7, I really don't have any time to be like enthusiastic as like I usually am. So like when I get home, I shut off anything I'm thinking about. I'm going straight to play Call of Duty and not have to worry about just thinking about fucking little asshole kids cursing me out on there, and that's about it.
And you're just dogging them down.
Yeah, no, kill them all, bro. We got mad wins on Warzone. That's what's up.
That's what's up, man. So, do you have a lady at home, or what's the situation?
Right now, no, I don't. Like fucking, I've been traveling too much and shit like that. But
no kids either.
No kids. I have a couple
not that you know of.
There's this one possibility that can be in Miami, but fucking, I think she like scammed me and shit. So I don't know.
DNA.
We didn't get something like that. But other than that, it's like I'm too much traveling right now to like have a steady relationship where fucking it can work.
That makes sense.
Because my last, like, I guess I wouldn't even call her my girlfriend, because we didn't even get to that point, because it wasn't working me traveling and shit like that. And that's always been the issue, because I like to travel and I do a lot, but when I'm not traveling, it's like I'm not going for like fun. I'm going for I'm going in there to work my ass off, and I don't really have time. So that usually causes a lot of drama, and I've seen it had a lot of drama happening with my co-workers when I worked in Miami, because they'll be on the road and they do maybe a third of the shows I do, and I can imagine them getting bitched at for that. So like to me, it's, I don't know, I kind of got like also like fucking fucked over, because I'm coming from Miami, and a lot of these girls are promiscuous as fuck over there in Miami, and they don't give a fuck, and they're ruthless. So like I kind of like very like guarded when it comes with that shit, and like unless I find wifey and shit like that, it's gonna be a minute.
Can't trust any of them yet.
No,
definitely not.
Yeah, that's we can say to that, but we'll leave it at that.
There you go.
We can add to that. All right. You wanna start off with the lightning round before we wrap up?
Let's do it. All right, bro. So we got a lightning round. We're just gonna ask you a bunch of questions.
Try to answer these within 20-30 seconds. You know,
that's gonna be hard.
All right, bro. Favorite drink?
Right now it's either Jack and Coke and Moscow Mule.
Ooh, I love my mules.
The mules are good. I've been going ham on those shits, especially when I travel, because it doesn't get me too fucked up, but they taste good.
I went to Texas for the Houston Tattoo Convention, and they have ranch water over there. It's just tequila, club soda, and lime.
That's pretty fire, good.
Bro.
That sounds dangerous. What kind of pizza do you like?
Man, lately I've been eating Harris Teeter's fucking pepperoni pizza, and I didn't realize how fucking good that shit was. But I like pineapple on my pizza too.
Let's go.
There we go.
Let's talk about that.
Warriors in the building. Let's go.
All right, bro. Favorite type of clients?
The ones that let me do whatever they want and have really good quality of skin.
There we go. You guys heard it. If you got money,
Got money, you let me do what I want, and you take care of your skin. Put fucking lotion on the skin, guys.
hydrate.
Pillow cooking my skin earlier, bro. He said I'm ashy.
I was telling him he got the South American skin over there.
Tough skin over here, bro.
You just need to drink some more water, bro. That's it.
More water,
bro.
less cocaine.
A lot of drinking this weekend, bro. A lot of drinking this weekend, bro.
Jordi, one regret in your tattoo career.
Not taking a full-time apprenticeship before tattooing outside my house, but even though when I say that, I still don't regret anything I've went through, because I probably wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't go through the situation I went through. But there's a lot more I could have learned before I started tattooing, where I could have been more prepared. Like the biggest saying I like learned through my frat was, piss poor preparation promotes piss poor performance. And
Well said.
to me I could have did more studying and learning art and application before I just started going at it. But me going at it also got me to a point where it's like I had to learn through trial and error, and then kind of I didn't have the curve. That's why it's so important to have an apprenticeship now, is like you kind of miss that curve and you can fucking get good really quick once you learn application.
No, that makes sense.
For sure.
Wow. What's the worst tattoo you've done?
Man, there's so many. When I first started, there's been a couple names where I misspelled, or they just didn't stick, or I've overworked the skin. But I don't know if I can say I have like one worst that kind of like comes out to my mind, but it's probably one that I misspelled.
Wow. I feel like that's such an easy thing for everyone to
feel
get.
like
So simple, but it happens.
it's
bro.
easy to do.
It happens a lot, and then you don't realize till right after you make the fuck up.
Until the friend's like, yo,
Yo,
you got that misspelled.
you wrote that shit wrong, or
See,
it's curved.
This is my
crazy,
biggest
though.
fear, because they keep teasing me. You know, I'm not a tattoo artist,
Yeah.
but they keep teasing me for me to become a tattoo artist and do an apprenticeship. But I'm horrible at spelling, so I know for a fact that's going to be one of my first mistakes if
Hey,
I ever consider it.
yeah,
You
The
know?
biggest thing you got to do is verify with the client.
Make them read it.
Even
Make them read
after
it.
they verify, though.
Verify it. If they verified it and they fucked up, that's not on you.
You're like, I showed it to you,
I
bro.
showed it to you. You were like cool with it. You let it happen. That's your fucking fault.
Oh man.
All right, bro. Favorite Inkmaster memory and your worst?
Favorite one was with all the people working up there that was on the show or our season. They were really cool people. I got to cook a lot of meals, and we did bonded a lot. Probably my worst there was doing the Kraken tattoo and almost getting eliminated right then and there, and then having going up and then having like other contestants saying you should have been eliminated. Like to me, that was like the lowest part on there.
Ouch.
But then I kind of did my best tattoo, the next tattoo where I did the collab with Jason Elliott, and we should have won fucking tattoo a day, but they kind of fucked us over on that one.
Interesting. Well, what's your favorite needle and machine to use?
Favorite needle, I mean, I use 15 to 20 needles every tattoo.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like anything that's saturated, mid-tones, or like solid color, it's usually a medium taper needle. And then if anything that's like soft shading, even black and gray, I use like both sides. And I use like 5 or 6 different, I guess, round shaders. I'll probably say my favorite combination is probably like a 17 mag curve and a 7 round shader.
And your machine?
17
Machine,
marker.
it's right now my favorite one. It's probably the Zion.
The Zion.
That's crazy. You're still in the Zion.
I still fuck with it. It's like
Hey,
about
if it's
your
not
favorite
broken,
ink?
if it's not broken,
it's not broke, and I still have the same one. The first one I bought back in Miami, 2017.
Whoa.
or 18 when it.
that's a workhorse.
Yeah, I
man.
still have
Yeah.
mine, bro. I got the one I bought around that time too.
Hey,
What about your favorite ink?
My favorite ink is Industry, and my favorite color is the red set, but it's more so it's red plum. It's usually my base for all my reds, and my favorite color is probably also red carmine, which is almost like a reddish pink, but it's like almost orangey, and it's like the highlights I've been using for all my reds that make it pop out.
That's what's
Just
up,
threw
man.
some tips and tricks in there.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
What about like my bad, Daryl? What about like okay? Because I asked Matt the same question. I was like, you know how like every artist has just one thing that maybe for you it's what makes you that artist. I feel like for you, what would it be like that one tip or trick that you feel like somebody else doesn't know but it works for you?
it's probably how not stretching the skin super tight and not pushing my palm on the skin when I tattoo. I almost kind of float in there. And to me, like, that made a difference in my application, and understanding that I'm going to have my needles in and not push down on it, this improved my work vastly.
Interesting. Wow.
That's a good tip. Yeah, because I mean, I've tried it and I've done it before, but I feel like after a while, your shoulder kind of starts hurting.
It hurts, but
elbow.
I kind of fit it out where I'm kind of like floating like this.
Okay.
Going like that back and forth. And
It looks like something else on camera.
oh, there.
Put your knee down.
It's like kind of floating on there, and I felt like when I had like my smoothest blends is when I've done that. And using more than like one type of, I guess, hand movement to saturate. I use circles back and forth, or I'll kind of rake it out. It all depends on how I want it smoother there. But the biggest thing I'll probably say I learned is the slower you run your you keep your hand movement, like the more time you put in the tattoo's gonna be a lot more better than trying to rush it through.
Of course. Yeah, that's with
To me,
almost everything, yeah.
It took me the longest to kind of realize that if you want something like really saturated in there, you got to take your time and go slow. Even though it's painstakingly like long, it comes out actually more efficient and a lot quicker overall.
Makes sense. Good to
Patience
know,
is
man.
the key, bro.
Bars.
Patience is the key.
One last question, Jordi. Wet or dry?
It depends what it is. If it's wings, I want that shit wet as fuck. If it's a paper towel, wet as fuck.
Yeah,
And then
we're talking about tattooing. Yeah.
Yeah. So like with a paper towel, like I'm sponsored with MD Wipeouts. I will never use Bounty again.
Really?
That shit, to me, like Bounty is like almost like fucking sandpaper and type of shit. So I use the dry packs first, and then they have the wet ones where I use to kind of clean everything. But like since then, it's like the softest like napkin, towel, whatever. Fucking use the wipe down.
We use the same one, bro. I love it.
I love it on there. It's like I have to buy like a big ass like case of them shits all the time, because if I go in there and I have to like go in Bounty, I'm like, yo, I'm so sorry.
let me sand down your skin real quick.
Let me sand it down. We're gonna start this all over, guys.
And then on top of that, it'll leave like the Bounty will leave like little.
They'll break down. They break apart.
Yeah, it does
Like
break apart.
with the MD wipeouts, them shits never break apart. And like I've never had an issue where it's like, yo, I'll wipe down, I'll see little pelitas and shit right in the middle of the picture and shit. With Bounty, every single time now, I still use Bounty to wrap up my grip. Like I don't buy the rubber grips because it's a waste of money.
Oh yeah.
I do is I take 2 sheets of paper, fold them, and then I use Sensi wrap over it. And I have my own grip. I prefer like a wide grip on it. I can't, my thumbs gets locked in if it's anything too short and shit like that. So my shit's like almost like that, like wide.
Damn.
Wow.
And I sit there and I don't use another big thing I learned is not using my wrist to tattoo. I use my shoulder. If you want to do circles, the range of motion is perfect with your shoulder. You can go back, you can pull down this way, go on there, but once you start doing your wrists, you're doing a semi motherfucking circle.
You should do a clip where
We're all like this. Hey.
Yo, fucking Jordan's putting on a seminar. I mean, no, it makes sense. I feel like with the shoulder, you have more control.
Yeah,
and
more
it's more
control,
fluid.
and you can kind of bring down. And then when I do lines, I bring them down this way, and I just keep my arms straight. And I usually do is a lot of people don't really do it. I take Sensi wrap and I wrap my wrist.
Just to make it more stiffer.
Yeah, because I want my wrist to not be moving. I want that shit tight, and I want my shoulder to where I'm gonna do all the action.
Wow.
On there, and that's like
That's a clip right there.
that one alone like improved my line work, improved like me doing circles. Like before I would try to do on my wrist, and it would always get to a point where it's like I'm like almost to the end, and that's when it's like I need to get up and put it in there, or if not, that's just gonna be at the end. It's gonna be there. But your range of motion with your shoulder versus your wrist is like it's night and day.
I feel like you're limited with this.
Yeah, you can only do you can't do
only
a
go
true
so
circle with your wrist. With your shoulder, you can't. Your wrist, you can't.
True,
You're
yeah.
Damn, but
gonna
that,
get there.
that takes a
and
lot
it's
of
out.
practice though, because even like for me, right, that I'm used to resting my.
I was used to doing that shit too. I still do it sometimes, but I catch myself and I try to do, instead of doing like this, I try to do it like this, where I'm kind of sliding.
Full range, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I wrap my wrist. So I kind of force myself to keep it tight, and I'm not using my wrist. I'm using my arm like this. So when you want to do like a perfect circle, it's a lot easier than doing it this way.
That's what's up, man. Jordi, thank you, man.
No
Yeah, that was a
problem.
Appreciate it,
part right
man.
there,
Appreciate it. I think we're at the end of the episode.
Yeah, bro.
Real quick, Greg, give us where we can follow you, because I know you were a little bit of an extra today.
In case,
you jumped in.
I wasn't even supposed to be here, bro. Like, they said, yo, come to the back. I'm like, all right, let's go. Just find me at _Sabid, bro.
Yes, you were in one of our episodes too, right?
Yeah.
And you're also a tattoo artist. How do you feel about
Yes,
Jordi,
sir.
man? How do you feel
Bro,
about sitting in on this conversation?
I'm a student in this couch right now, bro. I'm soaking everything in, bro. And it's kind of like, honestly, it's a blessing, bro. Like,
I
for
appreciate it.
you to be on Inkmaster and have all that experience, bro. Like, honestly, bro.
No,
Appreciate you, bro.
I know exactly, because I was at your spot not that long ago.
There you go.
It's
I
all
gotta
about
ask you, bro. Like,
Yeah.
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you
Get the microphone.
Safe,
Get
bro.
the microphone.
Oh,
on
the
the board.
side?
How do your folks feel about it when you got it, bro? I gotta know, son. Like,
It's funny because my mom would be always like, yo, she's like, I like your tattoos, but don't get any more. And she was saying Spanish and shit like that. And then my dad's like, at first he's like, he didn't like tattoos, but now it's like he wants to get tattooed all the time and shit like that.
That's
But the reason
cool.
why I got it was like, I got it from Angel Rose that was on my season Inkmaster and shit. And she was also on the next season after. But I was talking, yo, I want it kind of small, a little size. I want something in my face. Yo, she drew it on at Philly Tattoo Convention. I was like, fuck it, go ahead, do it. And to me, it's like, the one big mistake I wish I had, because I seen it after, was a pizza scythe. Like the fucking scythe with the pizza. That would have been the game over right there. But that's probably my biggest regret. I'm not getting the pizza scythe. But I look at it as this way: it's like, yo, the death is near, and I got no time to waste on like fucking around. And
There you
shit.
go.
There you go,
That's
bro.
what's up, man.
Bars.
damn, that's fine.
Jordi, thank you for blessing us and giving us your time, man. Real quick, look at this camera in the middle. Let people know where they can follow you, your website, your social media, and what conventions you have coming up out of the 50 million you're doing.
50 million. I'll try to get the least next two ones. You guys can follow me on their Instagram at Jordi_M4L. My website is www.jordiplottattoos.com. Also at Black Flamingo Collective and through Instagram. And my next convention is going to be in Denver, and then the one after that will be Nagila, Arizona convention in Prescott, Arizona, which I'm really excited because I've never been to Arizona on there. And pretty much that's about it. Maybe I'll catch me in China in a couple months and shit, or Germany at the Elite convention.
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, you know?
and TJ.
Hong Kong and TJ.
Are you booking? Are your books open for 2023 or what, 2022? 2023, man. I just
Right.
jumped back a year.
July 1st, I'm booking out for the rest of the year. So you can just go to my website, JordiPlottattoos.com, fill out a consultation form. If it's for a convention, I also have the different links on there so you can look up for which convention is going to be at. And I try to book those out ASAP.
Nice.
That's what's up, man. All right, Edwin, you want to take
man.
us out?
Yeah, guys, make sure to follow us at Inklusive Podcast on Instagram. Follow Jordi, follow Sabid, and then, of course, Daryl Vaca and me, Caked Up Bloke. Make sure you guys check us out on Heavy Hitters Inc. too. And then, of course, you can listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.
Yes, that's what's up, guys. And also, don't forget, go check out Kindness Kitchen. They gave us the food today. They were a sponsor for our episode. Like I said, if you go to one of their pop-ups and you tell them that you saw Inklusive, you watch our episode, he'll give you $5 off of your order of $25 or more. So with that being said,
We're
Inklusive out.
No fui.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jordi.
What's up,
Thank you,
Tom?
Greg.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I
Of
had a
course,
fucking
my
blast.
There you go. Thank you,
Those
guys.
empanadas were fire.
Let's go see if there's still some more left.
Hey, it's some more left facts.
Hey, leftovers. Thank you, Jordi.
Thank you. Fuck yeah. That was fucking